Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful bubu kaftan with lace inserts, as you can see right here. So this dress is really very gorgeous and bogus. It looks beautiful anyway, and it also has a turtleneck as well. So this is what I came out with. You can see it looks exactly like what we have right there on the thumbnail and on the video. So this is very beautiful and gorgeous. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial to learn more. So here is the dress. It's bogus and beautiful. So you can see the ruche in the front with a bow tie. So you can actually design your bow tie the way you want. You can take it as high as you want. You can also take it as low as you want. So right now we are going to jump into this tutorial right away. So I'll be making use of my lace fabric of 2.5 yards and the Mikado fabric. I used 3 yards for it. So I think Mikado is good for it. So stay tuned for this tutorial. So now this is my Mikado fabric 3 yards and my lace fabric I used 2.5 yards for the insert. So I'm going to open up my Mikado fabric. As you can see, I'm going to place the 3 yards into two like this. So if I take the measurement from the folded part, I'll be having 54 inches length. 54 inches length. Then I'm going to bring the other end of it and match it to the other end of it. So we'll begin to draft. So right here is my center front and my center back. And I'm going to start my measurement from the shoulder line. So I'm taking 4 inches for the neckline. And I'm taking 1 inch for the back neckline. I'll connect. The front neckline is 8 inches. I took 8 inches. So I'm going to connect my V neckline to the 4 inches, as you can see. So I will take my shoulder divide by 2, which is 8 inches, and the length of my sleeve I use 17 inches from the shoulder. So what I have remaining is 4.5 inches. So I'm going to mark the 4.5 inches from that top to the bottom, just to rule a straight line, a connecting line, which is the width of this dress. So after connecting that, the next we want to do right now is to cut out that 4.5 inches from the bottom to the top. So we are going to take it away, but before then I'm going to mark my sleeve length at 13 inches. So at this sleeve length at 13 inches, I'm going to measure 1 inch away. That is for hemming my sleeve. Just measure 1 inch away and 1 inch inwards. So now I'm going to cut through the 1 inch inwards. So but before that, I'll just rule a straight line to connect the 1 inch away from that line, which is the line of the sleeve. So I'm just going to cut it out right now. Once I get to the 13 inches width of my sleeve, I'm going to cut into the 1 inch inwards. Just cut into the 1 inch inwards. Then this is what you have. You can see that part has to be 2 inches for the folding. So now after cutting that part, we will go over to the back neckline and cut only the back neckline. So I cut out only the back neckline. So next, I'm going to open up this dress, as you can see, because we want to cut out the front neckline, the V neckline. I'm going to cut it out right away. So I just go right there and cut it out. So here we have cut it out. The next we want to do now, I brought my lace, which will serve as my facing. So you can see I place it on fold and I secure with my pin. So just like you cut your facing, that's exactly what I'm doing right here. So after pinning it, I'm going to cut out the neckline from the front. I'll take it all through to the back. Now I'm going to take off the fabric itself and then shaping the lace fabric. So I'll come down by 4 inches. So I'll just take the shape at 4 inches like that, like that. I'll take it all around until I get to the back as well. So I will begin to connect the lines I marked right now. But once I got to the shoulder, I just thought of using my ruler to make that part a sharp V. So I just traced the V line from that neckline. I just traced it out to match to the 4 inches line. Then I decided to rule a straight line at that point. So I think it's better this way. So although I got about 3 inches or so, but I'll just add half an inch by the side for stitching allowance. That is what I did. But it's okay. I just wanted it to be within that 4 inches or 3.5. So I have 3.5 now, so we can work with it just to get that V line. That's what I'm trying to do right there. So I'm going to cut through the facing. I'll cut it from the front to the back. So after cutting it, this is what we got right here. So the facing is ready, which is the lace fabric. So we are going to use this lace fabric on the front. So I'll open up my neckline and I'm going to place it on top of it. But note that before you place it, you are going to identify the part that is the back. Although Mikado does not really have a wrong side, but I'll just pick the part I feel like it will be the wrong side to mark on it. So now I bring my facing, I'll place it right side to wrong side. The lace is right and the Mikado is wrong. So I'll place it and secure with my pin all around. So I'll start from the V neckline to pin. I make sure I align everything and pin before I head over to the sewing machine to stitch. And I'm going to stitch at half an inch. So after stitching, you cut through, just make a notch at that V neckline to allow that part to relax. Then you also make a mark at the shoulder line and then make notches at the back. So then we'll go over to the machine, flip all the seams to the part of the Mikado and top stitch. So I just flip all the seams on the part of the Mikado and top stitch. So after top stitching, this is what I got right now. So I'm going to turn it to the right side. This is the wrong side where I stitched. So I'll turn it to the right side now, then flip the facing to the front side. I believe you understand. So I head over to give it a good press. Then I begin to secure with my pins because we are going to stitch right on top of this lace. So don't fold it in. I'm going to stitch just very at the edge of the lace. So I'll stitch at the edge of the lace like that. So after stitching, I gave it a good press too. So now we are going to fold the sleeve. I'll just fold in just half an inch and I'll go over to the machine and stitch. After stitching, this is what I got. So now I'm going to pick this sleeve from that point that I notched. Okay, I'll pick it completely and begin to secure with my pins accordingly. So I'll just go ahead and secure with my pins, as you can see. So once I'm done pinning, I'll now go over to the machine and top stitch on top of it. So after top stitching, this is what I got, and I did the same for the other sleeve. So I'm going to put it together. So you put it together and stitch at 1 inch. So you just stitch exactly at that point and leave the sleeve part open. So we are done. Next is to hem the down part of the sleeve. So you open up the seam lines and go ahead to hem the down part of the sleeve. So I will go and hem it. After hemming, we are going to create that belt. So the belt width, I use 3 inches. Then the length is 30 inches. So I sew it as a belt, but I open it at the center so I'll be able to turn it. So right here, I'm using my scissors to turn the belt. The little belt is 30 inches width, length, and the width is 3 inches. So I'm trying to turn it neatly. So after turning it with my scissors, I will give it a good press. So I'm done turning and I left the center piece open. So I'll now go ahead and top stitch the center and iron it nicely. So you can see how beautiful it's looking right there. So the next thing we are going to do is to create the gathers. So we are going to take the measurement from my shoulder. So from your shoulder, you just determine where you want that rush to stop. If you want it at the knee line, you stop at your knee length. You want it at your hip, you can stop at the hip, or you can count like 4 inches down and mark. Then from the side, you are going to measure 13 inches inwards. 13 inches inwards and mark. And on the hem from the side, you measure the same 13 inches because we are going to mark a straight line. So I just connect that straight line and I'll go over to my machine and I'm going to gather only on the front dress, only on the front. So here I've gathered and I'm trying to bring the gathers together. So I brought it together and I secured it, as you can see. So gently make sure you gather. So I make sure I gathered very closely and secure it very well. So after that, the next thing is to tie the secure it very well, like I earlier said. Then I'm going to bring in my needle and thread. We'll use our needle and thread right now to fix the bow to it. So we'll use the bow to cover it, but before that, secure it a little bit more with your needle and thread. So I thought of using needle and thread to secure it after gathering, so I'll have it very firm without loosening at that part. So after tying it, I'm going to use the same thread I used. I'm going to pass it through the back to the front, then bring in my bow. So I'm going to tie my bow. So just go ahead and tie your bow the way you know how. So I just tied my bow right now and I'm going to place it on top of it. I'll just go ahead and secure it nicely. So I tacked it very well. I tacked at 4 points. So make sure you tie it very well so the bow does not fall out at all. So you can make these gathers at the center just to create another design. You can make it at the right, you can make it at the left, you can even make a side ruche. Okay, you can do a side ruche for it if you don't want to have it at the front. So you can just create so many designs for this style anyway. So here you can see what I got. So I made sure I secured it after stitching the bow. I secured it very well. So we are done with the main dress right now. So you can see the main dress is ready. We want to jump into the lace part of this dress. So for the lace part of this dress, I have to fold my 2.5 yards. I folded the piece that I will use for the front. So the width I folded is my hip divided by 4. So I just added like 7 inches to it. So now I'm going to rule my border line. And then I'm going to take the measurement of my vertical measurements. I first took 9 inches as my chest line. I took 17 inches as my waistline. I took 29 inches as my hip line. And the full length, I used the whole length of the lace. Then I took my knee line. I counted 3 inches above to mark my knee line. So my knee line right there is 38 inches from the shoulder. So the neck width here is 3 inches and the neck depth is 3 inches. So I use 3 by 3 because it's a turtleneck. Then I came down by 1 inch for the back and connected. I measured my shoulder divided by 2 at 8 inches. On the shoulder line, came down by 1 inch as my shoulder drop and then connected my shoulder slant. Then on the chest line, I measured my shoulder divided by 2 plus ½ inch seam allowance make sure you add your 1/2 inch seam allowance. So the midline, I came in by 1/2 an inch and connected at the armhole. I measured my bust circumference divided by 4. I got 10 inches. I added 2 inches both seam allowance and ease on the chest line. So I connected to the front armhole and the back armhole accordingly. So next I went over to the waistline. My waist divided by 4. I have 9.5. I added 2.5 inches. On the waist you add 2.5 inches. Then on the hip, I took my hip divided by 4. I have 12 inches I marked. I added 3 inches on the hip line. You add 3 inches on the hip line, both for ease and for seam allowance. Then I went over to the knee and measured what I have on the hip. I took away 2 inches from it. So you take out 2 inches from what you measured on your hip and mark on your knee line. Then I took what I got on the knee to the hem. So I got 13 inches on that point. I marked it on the hem and connected a straight line. So after connecting right now, I'm going to cut out the front dress because the front dress is actually very much ready. So I'll just cut only the side of the front dress because we are going to place it on our lace again to cut out the back dress. So I'm cutting only the shoulder, the armhole at the back. So now I place my fabric again on fold, but I marked 1 inch for zipper allowance. You mark 1 inch for zipper allowance. Then I brought in my front piece and placed it on top of the 1 inch zipper allowance. Secure with your pins, align them on the 1 inch at the center back. So after that is done, now we are going to, I started cutting, but I realized that I've not contoured the zipper line on the waist. So I just stopped at that point and went over to the waistline. So I'm going to extend the line to the back and then contour by 1 inch. So I contoured by 1 inch. So you come in by 1 inch on the waistline. So just to contour the zipper line, of course you know how to go about the zipper line contour line. So that is exactly what I'm doing right here. So now I'm going to replace what I contoured on this side. So I'll add 1 inch there and I'm going to connect accordingly. So I'm going to connect from that chest line to the hip which I replaced, and then I'll take it back to the hip line, from the bust line to the waistline to the hip line. So now the dress is ready. We'll continue cutting right now. So I'm cutting only the back piece. We are going to cut out the back piece and separate it and cut out the front piece. So I will take away, I'll add 1/2 an inch on the shoulder line, then cut the back neckline alone. So I'm going to take away the upper piece and then cut out the zipper contour line. So I'll cut the zipper contour line this way and I'm going to take it all the way down. So to the hip, I'm going to open up because I placed that part on fold, as you can see. So now we are done with the cutting after cutting out this center back right now. So next we are going to do is to take the back out and then cut the neckline for the front. So I'll cut the neckline for the front and then cut the armhole for the front as well. So after cutting it out, the next I'm going to do is to set it aside. I brought back the back to sew the zipper point. So I'm going to place my zipper. So I have a turtleneck. I will raise it up by 1.5 inch and then mark where my zipper point is. Then I'll come from the hemline and I'm going to measure my slit opening at 18 inches. Then I'll now sew at 1 inch. I'll sew that part at 1 inch. So I'll go over to the machine to sew. So after sewing, the next I'm going to do is to hem my slit. So this is how I'm going to hem the slit area. So I'll go over to hem the slit and attach and give it a good press. So after that, the next is to bring in the front piece and sew the shoulder line. So the shoulder line, I'll go over to sew it with 1/2 inch. So after sewing with 1/2 inch right now, I'm going to measure my neckline all around, including the zipper allowance. So whatever you measure to that point, whatever measurement you took, that is what we are going to use to cut out the turtle neck. So I have my fabric and the lace right now, and the width is 4 inches. So I'm going to place my hemming gum just to fix both the lace and the doll face. So the width is 4 inches and I folded in 1/2 inch on one side. So I'll just go ahead to attach my collar right now. So I'll just bring the wrong side and place the right side of that part. Then later I'm going to fold it in and top stitch. So I know you know how to go about this part too. So you can see the neckline right now is ready. I'll now go ahead and sew my zipper. So after sewing my zipper, this is what I got and it's looking beautiful. So next is to close the side of this dress at 1 inch. So I just go and sew the side at 1 inch, and here is my sleeve. So I've already cut out my sleeve. So the next thing is to sew the side of the sleeve and then attach it to the dress. So you can see the sleeve, the length of this sleeve I used 24 inches, so you can make it 25 if you want it very long. So I'm going to attach this to the dress by turning the wrong side of the dress and placing the sleeve, shoulder seam line and armhole and stitch. So the dress is ready, and that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. So I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again, and keep following Simright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for more videos, and see you in the next class. Bye.